Welcome back to Families in Action right here on KHTS AM 1220, your hometown station, with today's special guest, Linda Davies, Executive Director of the Domestic Violence Center here in Santa Clarita, California. October being National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And Linda did something great this past weekend to bring awareness and to raise funds. The Purple Walk for Strength.
Yes.
How did that go?
It was great. We had actually, I have to tell you that I have a great team in my office who really kind of put this together with me, and so it's been really a support. Today we're all kind of relaxed, is what I'm saying, because once your event's over, you're always thinking about all the different pieces of it. So the Purple Walk of Strength actually was started because domestic violence was not seen or talked about in this community in a, I don't want to say positive way, but in a way that it's part of us. We got to raise awareness. It doesn't have to be the secretive thing, where the door's locked to the domestic violence center if people come in, and that's kind of where it was at when I got here. And so we needed to do something that said to families, this is happening, but you can support us, and we can do fun events, things that are enjoyable and get you out there and understand more about domestic violence, but also see the people in the community that want to raise awareness around this issue. And that's the beauty of the Purple Walk. People walk through the college. We do it. They go through the cross-country trails, so it's a pretty rigorous 3-mile walk, okay? But that's what I love about it. And we've got signs all along the way that kind of tell you the stats on domestic violence and sexual assault and different things that are happening nationwide and in our community. And we throw purple color at everybody, and everybody comes away purple because that's the color of domestic violence. And it's really a very fun event. And we, as I said, we thought we were going to have 150. We ended up having 180, which is not a bad thing to have go on. We had to run out and get more. I think we had a lot of people sign up in advance. We had to get 50 more registrations, and luckily the Sheriff's Department was open there, and they ended up doing it for us, so thank you very much. And we do it in conjunction with the Body Mind Wellness. They do a lot around awareness on the college, especially around sexual assault, now human trafficking.
You're talking about that, and I'm reading some of these things, and I'm just going to throw one at you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since we're talking about it.
Yeah.
And which one did I want to? Nearly 1 in 5 teenage girls.
Yep.
Have nearly 1 in 5 teenage girls have been in a relationship that a boyfriend threatened violence or self-harm if they were threatened to leave.
Absolutely.
If they wanted to break up with them.
Yeah, if they wanted to break up with them, they threatened suicide. That happens in, a lot of this is the thing about the teenage piece, which is hard. Nobody really wants to talk about domestic violence happening. But if we're talking about 1 in 5 teens that have a relationship like that, and at some points girls think it's kind of romantic when he has control over me, he doesn't like me with my friends and wants me to be with him, but there's so many signs that there can be problems. And when you talk to kids about it, you hear that they know of friends that this is happening with. So many of them do. But yet I think parents don't understand how in love teenagers are.
Yeah, I want to jump on that. I hear this from parents. I work with kids.
Yeah, I know.
And I hear all the time, oh, it's not love. It's infatuation is love. Let me tell you something. When your 14 or 15 or 17-year-old says they're in love on steroids.
Very much so.
It's intense love.
Very much so. And then you add all the peer pressure about either being with a guy or not being with a guy or being alone or not being in. All that stuff just plays in. And girls learn early to sort of take stuff that they don't need to take.
Right.
And so, but we need to get into the schools, and we have gotten in some way, but we're still always working on getting in more to talk about healthy relationships. But it's not necessarily what parents want their kids talking about.
Well, I sure like my kid to hear it. That's for sure, because you don't want them to be in a sick relationship.
No, you don't
want somebody to overpower them. You don't want her to stay in a relationship because if they don't, the guy's going to kill himself. You don't want the guy to keep her locked in away from her friends. That's pretty sick stuff.
It is sick stuff, but it does. And I think the sad part is that a lot of our TV shows, a lot of our media shows that kind of a relationship.
They sure do.
They show that the woman is really the one who's all like, dressing for the guy, or, not talking back to him, or not speaking up for herself. It was interesting because there was a thing in the paper yesterday on, even Jennifer Lawrence, when she goes for money for her show, she just realized recently that she gets much less money than a lot of the other actors, the male actors, because she's worried if she fights for her money that they're going to think that she's the B word, or she's bossy, or she's whatever. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so if she's thinking that, think of the women who have no self-esteem whatsoever, who are in these relationships, and young girls who have just come out of, puberty. Well, let's face it, junior high is not a fun place to be. And so you are in those relationships then, you're feeling so insecure, your hormones are just all over the place. And they need a lot of help in understanding what's going on. And so we do offer a program called In Touch with Teens that we've talked to the school districts about doing some work with them and the Hart School District. Right now we're doing something with Golden Valley. It's called Close to Home, and that we're doing that along with Strength United. So we are targeting that group, but I do feel like we have to go younger.
It's, I believe it starts really young.
Yeah.
When we're going and speaking to kids in elementary school, and
Absolutely,
middle schools,
absolutely.
we're talking about self-esteem, about
Yep.
making good choices, and that's when people need to really understand what a healthy relationship is, because that's when
Right.
they're going to begin relationships.
Right. We'd love to partner with you when you go into the schools to put the healthy relationship piece in.
There's
Yeah.
no reason why we
I
can't
know.
do that.
Because recently we're doing this sort of strategic prep thing with our agency through this Taproot grant
In
that
fact,
we got.
I'd love to see you come Tuesday night at 7:00 and talk to the kids
I'll come.
whenever you want.
I will. I can't tomorrow because we're busy for dinner.
I guess congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
You're
you
welcome.
Too.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations. But yeah, I do think that we want to talk more to them and get them to understand it and to at least be aware. It doesn't mean you stop your relationship, but it means that you start to say, hey, I want to be with somebody who thinks my opinion matters. I
Right.
want to be with somebody who likes to do the things I like. I want to be with somebody who values my friends and not just tells me I can't do those things. I mean, basic, simple things
And you might
that
be
girls give up.
And you might be surprised when you stand up for yourself and you start letting people know how you feel, things can change.
Absolutely. And if that person really cares for you, that's when you're going to see. And if not, it's not worth it.
No, and you said it right. If that person really cares for you, there can be changes.
Right. And what does the back of my shirt say, Cary?
I am so worth it.
That's right.
You are.
That's right.
Hey.
Very good.
And
I wanted to encourage you to give that phone number once again.
All right. Our hotline phone number is 661-259-4357. Again, 661-259-4357. Can I just also say that if you're interested, our website is dvc-scv.org, and we do have on our website some interesting facts about what a healthy relationship looks like. If you're in a relationship where there may be some issues, it would also help you kind of look at that. And then we have an outreach center in Santa Clarita where you can come and just ask questions. We have advocates trained there, and that number is 661-259-8175. All right, so it's 259-8175. And we have advocates that are trained in working with teens and working with women and in working with men and children. So
This one, wow. Every day in the United States, more than 3 women are murdered by their husbands or boyfriends. Murdered, killed.
yeah. I mean, we've had that in our own city.
I know we have.
Yeah.
I remember on
Yeah.
more than one occasion.
On more than one occasion. And the sheriffs and the city are really working together right now to, try to deal with that, to work with that, to pull groups together. And one of the things that we're doing right now with the city and with the sheriff's department is a group of workshops called Stop the Silence, Stand Up Against Violence. We have to get this out here. It's free workshops. It's going to be held every quarter. We just did one on nonviolent parenting last Tuesday, but we're going to do Understanding the Law, Be an Upstander, Not a Bystander, and Self-Defense is the last one coming up in June.
Well, here's something to bring it into perspective for California. We've been talking about national numbers,
Right.
but in 2014, there were nearly 2,000 calls per day on the hotline.
Yeah,
Per day.
per day.
That's a lot of people calling.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times there'll be people that are calling for immediate help, and a lot of times they're calling just to say, do you think this is domestic violence? And we even get that in our office, where somebody will sit down and they'll tell us something. Or we have the sheet that's in our intake pack, which talks about what does it look like physically, what does it look like emotionally, what does it look like financially and sexually. And sometimes women will just break down crying when they fill that out because they'll say, I didn't know it was really as
And
bad
by the way,
as
that
it is.
financial is pretty big, too.
Financial is amazing.
It's really huge, isn't it?
Uh-huh. I mean, and you figure, okay.
What a source of
she's
control.
leaving, right, when she's leaving with the kids. So 90% of domestic violence first happens when a woman is pregnant, okay?
Say what?
Yeah, 90% of domestic violence first time is happening when a woman is pregnant. And the reason is because he's worried that he's going to lose control. She's not going to love him as much. She's going to love this baby. But then once the baby's born, he kind of realizes that she's even more kind of under his control, because where is she going to go with this baby? So a lot of our clients have more than one child.
So
when they leave, they're not leaving with one child.
So they're
leaving
walking
with
out of
two
a
or
house
three.
with their children,
Yeah.
and they've been controlled financially.
Yep.
They don't even have access to the bank accounts
No.
on most of the
No.
occasions, right?
No, and fraud is huge in domestic violence, which means that the batterer or the person who's in control has actually done a lot of things with putting their name on a lot of credit cards, ranking the credit cards up so they have no credit whatsoever when they leave. That is so classic. I mean, it's just,
Really?
yeah, it's amazing. I mean, if you could think about any way in which you could make life for this person impossible if they were to leave you, okay? That is what happens in a domestic violence situation.
And how sad that when a woman becomes pregnant, a marvelous time in their
Right,
life, should be a
absolutely.
time when they need so much help and there's so many changes going on for them, that they should be falling victims to domestic violence.
Absolutely.
Especially for
Yeah.
the reasons you said.
Right,
That's
Right.
that's just flat out insecurity.
right. Well, it is. I mean,
But then so is almost all of it. The relationships with children too.
Yep.
That's all insecurity.
well, that's why we say if men could stand up against other men, like if leaders stood up and said domestic violence it's not going to fly. I don't respect you. I don't want you to talk about it. I actually, this is something that's really, disgraceful to be happening to a woman who could be your mother, your sister, your daughter. I mean, think about who she is, your grandmother. I mean, all these important relationships. That's something that men need to stand up against, because that's where we're going to see a difference happen, I think.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
And here locally, just to bring it to focus even more, Linda, you can speak to this. In 2013, 2014, I understand that you provided services to over 1,200 victims here in Santa Clarita Valley alone.
Yes.
That's
we
a
do.
lot. And if you especially look behind those numbers at how many people didn't report a
Right.
problem.
Right. That's these are women that have come in and had the courage to come in and say that there's domestic violence happening in their relationship. It doesn't even mean, like, success for one of our clients isn't the fact that she's going to leave her abuser, which I think sometimes they're not ready for because their self-esteem, money, all those things. They need to have more time, and they need to take classes to understand what they need. Okay, and so that's not what we expect. We expect that what happens to them is that they feel better about themselves, that they learn more about themselves, that they learn to take whatever it is that's that next step to empower who they are. And that's what we hope. Like, that's why we say that we transform lives, because we start getting them ready to feel like they can have a life, that there are possibilities out there. And the sad part is that sometimes there aren't the best resources. Like, think about trying to find a home in Santa Clarita with the price of housing, or in Los Angeles to begin with. I mean, we're talking a lot about Sylmar or
then add
Palmdale.
2 or 3 kids to the picture.
Absolutely. And we've had clients come in who have gone to lawyers. The lawyer's done all the numbers of what she's going to get from this guy and how much money he's going to give her, and this is what he's going to agree to, and turned and said to this woman, why, this is like no money for you to live on. Why can't you just take one for the team and just stick it out? So take the abuse, take it, so till your kids grow up. And a lot of times women do that. But what happens is they will create children who will go into abusive relationships. They are not saving their children's lives. They're basically just creating a cycle again. So that's the part that they have to understand, is that it's a learned behavior.
Linda, I wanted to ask you, for somebody that's listening and they're afraid to pick up the phone, They want to, but they're afraid to pick up the phone. What happens if they pick up the phone and call you?
At the other end, there's an advocate. There's an advocate that's been trained to be a listener, an advocate who's trained with resources who can help them take the next step.
And is the person that's abusing them going to find out about
No,
this?
not at all. All of our numbers are blocked numbers. If they go on our website, there's actually something that they can click, so it immediately will take them off of our website if somebody walks in the room with them. So it will definitely be something that can be safe for them. Okay. We never call clients back either. And people will always say to us, oh, can't you just email all this stuff to your clients? Like we work next door to Single Mothers Outreach, and they can email all of their clients, everything, and people will say to us, can't you just email this to your clients? And we're like, no, we don't have a lot of contact like that with our clients because we don't know what's safe or not,
Exactly.
And it could be safe one minute and not safe the next. So we don't do that with our clients.
And so here's somebody that's, well, let's just say it, they're terrified.
Right.
They're literally terrified, and they're terrified so much that they're afraid to call to get help because they're terrified there's some way that the person that's abusing them is going to find out. You're saying,
and a lot of times their life has been threatened.
Exactly.
So they're afraid for their safety.
Don't you dare tell anybody, right?
Can I tell you the saddest thing, though, is and we're going to be doing something about, and we're doing this in the community right now, something called A Woman's Way to the Law. The saddest thing for me is when the sheriffs are called and she has been abused and she will not press charges. And the reason she doesn't press charges is because that's the father of her children, or I'm afraid if I press charges, he'll come back even worse at me. And she doesn't understand that at that moment in time, she can get emergency protective order from the sheriffs that's good for 5 days. If this guy comes back, he's going to be arrested, okay? And that will be his issue, not her issue for doing it. It's basically setting a boundary of safety for her. And we find, and then she can get a temporary restraining order within those 5 days that protects her for 21 more days, and then she can go and get her restraining order that can be good for up to 3 years. But time and time again, we find women afraid to do that, afraid of his anger.
But a lot of times since the OJ deal,
Yeah,
they're arresting them anyways,
they will if the abuse is bad enough.
if they could see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you got it? I mean, that's the sad part. It may be that he's threatening, like we hear things all the time. See that rug down there? I can picture you rolled up in that rug. Your body dead, rolled up in that rug. I can picture that.
And there's nothing they can do.
No. Or I take the knife out of the closet and I kind of play with it a little bit in front of you. And then I go over right close to where you're sitting and I stab it in the chair.
Ouch.
Okay? But when the sheriffs come, there's no evidence. Okay? So one thing I know that the sheriffs do, and, our clients will tell us, and I will tell you that the Captain Johnson has been very, very helpful with us. Like if we have a client that says something didn't happen, we call immediately and we say, hey, we know this is a woman's right. This didn't happen with your department. Can you tell us why? And he will follow through and get somebody on it, and somebody will contact that client.
We have a great sheriff's department here. We really do. I mean, they really take care of business.
I think that our sheriff's department is good, and it's getting better.
Okay.
I know.
Well,
From a domestic violence,
there's
you
always
have
room
it.
for improvement. Yes.
No, I love the sheriff's department. Don't get me wrong. I really, really do. I
Oops.
feel like there's a lot of really good stuff that happens.
Yes.
But I do think that domestic violence still is a female's issue, and that is a fairly male-dominated department.
And I think it's maybe a misunderstood issue.
Absolutely. And so I think sometimes people don't always get the service right away, but they are starting to get the services
Gotcha.
more and more and more. And I do feel that our sheriff's department is growing and changing and really supporting domestic violence. But we do have people sometimes that don't always get the response they hope for because they don't understand the law.
Right. It's misunderstood.
It's misunderstood. You know what I mean? It really is. And then sometimes even a sheriff may not understand something at a certain point around
And
when
the
there's
other-
no abuse
and-
noticed.
And the other part, I was dealing with someone a couple weeks ago, actually, that wanted to report their husband for it. But the bottom line is they also hit back. So the sheriff said, well, if we arrest him, we have to arrest you too. So it's kind of sometimes a real
Oh, it's the
spotty-
toughest call
That's really hard. I deal with that a lot. Or kids too.
Yeah.
Parents want to have their kids arrested, but they can't because the kids hit them. They hit the kid back.
Right.
So it's a mess.
Right, and it is the hardest call. Domestic violence is definitely the most dangerous call that a sheriff will go on,
Oh,
and they always go in twos
Because of all the emotions that are going on at the house.
Yep, absolutely.
And then how dare you come to my house and tell me how to deal with my husband or wife.
Right, absolutely.
Or kids.
Absolutely, yes, I agree.
You got a tough job.
Yeah,
I thought dealing with drug addicts were tough.
We have a tough job, yes, we do, but we also see a lot of success the same way you do, and we also see not some success sometimes that kind of breaks your heart, So, but I will say that we get a lot of support in this community, and I feel like that's been really helpful to us too. Really that people. I think we're beginning to really kind of peel out the onion. I think you've been able to do it around drugs and alcohol. I think it took you time. You've been doing this for
30 years plus.
Yeah, right.
I've been up here for 25 years talking, screaming.
Right.
And now finally people are listening. But
right.
you guys, I'll tell you what, you guys are making a difference. People are listening now. Domestic violence is a word that's not spoken anymore. It's spoken up here.
Right.
We know you're here.
Right.
Everyone
people know we're
knows
here.
Yes.
Yeah, people know we're here. And that's
I'll tell
a really
you what,
good thing.
A few years ago, people did not know you were here.
Know.
Everyone knows you are here.
And I could tell from what Linda's said here and that she's not shy.
No.
Oh, no.
Linda? Linda Davies?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Are you shy?
No. Well, actually, to tell you the truth, I am somewhat shy around some things. Like, don't take me somewhere to just schmooze around and hang out with people and do small talk.
Well,
you know what I mean?
That's a different story.
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
Yeah,
And
but you want me
I
to...
get a little insecure.
Yeah. Like you want me to talk passionately about the work I do, I can talk passionately about the work I do and who sometimes doesn't get the services that they need just because there's so much misunderstanding about
Then we
things.
have the silver fox. He's not shy.
Silver Fox, are you shy?
Very.
All right.
And I only said that because sometimes when you're in such a serious moment, and this is a pretty serious show, we're talking about women dying and people getting beat up, and what we don't know, what we don't usually have, we can't really get out is the amount of successes that happen from things like the domestic violence, from shows that we're doing now.
Right.
I mean, there's a whole lot more successes than failures.
Right.
But it's hard to see that because there's successes.
Right.
It's just like with us. We know when we're dealing with someone in substance abuse, when they overdose and they pass away, or behavioral health unit when somebody ends up killing themselves. But what about the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that lives are changed and saved because of the stuff we're doing?
Absolutely.
And you don't hear about it.
And you don't hear about it.
What
You don't
makes
know.
the news is not, hey, they were success stories. What makes the news is somebody took a gun out and they were a mental health patient and they took out an office.
Exactly.
Right.
I was thinking that this morning as I was walking through the behavioral health unit at Henry Mayo. There's a 23-bed locked acute psych. You have to be suicidal, homicidal, or just unable to take care of yourself to be in that unit. It was full. Imagine the people that lives are being saved.
Right.
And you can't really even know that because they're alive.
Right.
So,
right. Well, that's true of our shelter, too.
And
it's
that's
always
why
full.
I'm saying, I'm just going
always
right
full.
now, the lives you guys are saving because of what you do. Sometimes you might not know it, but at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to put your hand behind your back, pat yourself. Because
And what's that phone number again? I'm going to push that phone number. We got to push that phone number.
It's 661-259-4357. So 661-259-HELP.
This is Families in Action on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. We'll be back with Linda Davis. Welcome back to Families in Action on your local hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm Cary Quashen. And by the way, I just got a text from my daughter, Courtney Quashen, said she's listening. So Courtney Quashen, I love you. To the moon and back. And hey, Mike, what a great show, Linda Davies, huh?
It's been fantastic, and I think that there's probably a lot of people out there listening that are saying, my goodness, I had no idea.
Yeah, well,
and
we're here to say that.
You got some wish lists and things going on. Why don't we do your deal?
Okay, well, this Santa Clarita Valley is really, really great with us as far as bringing us things that we need, and mostly what we need is stuff for our shelter. We always, every week or every month, do something called the consumables for the shelter. Like right now, we need diapers, but we need diapers that are sizes 4, 5, and 6. We need baby body wash and baby shampoo and Desitin. We can always use laundry soap. We can always use the things that are the consumables in your home, the things that cost you money, the things that you need to run your house, like paper towels, toilet paper. We also are looking for right now multicultural dolls. We went online to buy some of those because we see a lot of people many races of people ethnicities come through our shelter, and a lot of what we get at Christmas time usually from people and during the year is mostly white dolls. So we looked online, and to buy a set of multicultural dolls is about $200. It doesn't seem like it should be, but it is. So if anybody is interested in buying us a doll of color.
Where do they have those? The Target might.
Target, I think, would have
might.
them. Walmart might have
bet you
them.
they do.
Yeah, I think that those would be the places.
If I go by Walmart, I'm going to buy some.
Or Toys R Us, I would think, should have them. I mean, you got to go buy your child. I mean, if you're a person who is a Latino, you're going to want to buy your daughter or son a doll that looks like them.
And you don't want used, you want new.
We like the new dolls, actually, because for our kids,
safe
it just,
and clean.
safe and clean, and also of value, like really, wanting to say to them, you're worthy, because that's really what it's all about, too, is letting the kids know that they're valued.
It's all about the kids.
It is all about the kids. And if anybody wants to drop off the donations, actually, you can do it at our Domestic Violence Center Outreach Office. It's in the Savia Building at 23780 Newhall Avenue, Suite 202 in Newhall. Again, I really believe that the Domestic Violence Center transforms lives, but only with community support. And we're very grateful to, actually to KHTS too, because they do a lot for us, and also for all the community itself. And now we're working with the city more closely because of all the violence that we've seen in our valley.
Right.
And so they really are working with agencies and trying to get as much support out there.
We're seeing a rise in violence all around us here in the United States. Let's just focus on that. And are you seeing an increase in domestic violence?
I think what's happened here is that there's always been domestic violence. I think that now we're talking about it more. People are less afraid. I think also that Santa Clarita is now the third largest city in LA County.
Yes.
So it's going to have city issues. So I think that's what we're seeing.
So a lot of it that you're seeing the increase is people that are just saying, it was there.
They're talking about it more.
Plus the economies. There's a lot of stress on people right now, which brings out the worst in everybody.
Well, we will say that if a batterer is going to batter you, he'll do it whether he's, I'm going to tell you.
Okay, I get it.
Drunk.
Yeah, that makes sense.
On drugs. I think about the thing and also stress. You may be able to predict it's coming better with those three things, but he's going to be a batterer no matter what.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
That.
Yeah.
I hear
Can we sneak in that phone number one more
Oh,
time?
we
on
can.
the way
You're
out the
really
door?
good at this.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so
He is. That's the silver fox.
The silver fox. I get it. 661-259-4357 is our 24-hour helpline and helpline. And it's 661-259-HELP. 4357 spells
And that's a
out help.
safe call.
It's a safe call. It won't show up. It won't show up as a number won't show up as DVC on any of your records. It's going to be, it's a block call every time you call us.
Linda Davies, I want to thank you for coming on our show. You're wonderful as always.
Thank you so much.
One of our heroes here in Santa Clarita and one of the top 51. This is Families in Action.
Thank you.
On your hometown station, AM 1220, KHTS. Signing off. Bye-bye.